I'm gonna ask you now. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, what's your name?
Mandy.
Okay. You're gonna say.
Told ya.
I'm just giving you the cue.
Okay.
You're gonna say.
Okay.
Hi, my name. I just returned from 2 jam-packed days of garden hopping in Phoenix with my partner in all things gardening and food, Jack Davis at Epic Yard Farm. I met some wonderful ladies, some we dropped in on, and some were expecting us. Take a look at day 1.
Hi, my name's Mandy. Welcome to my garden out here in Queen Creek, Arizona. You can find me on Instagram at SideyardFarmAZ.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
How long have you been following Late Bloomer?
I have been following Late Bloomer since probably 2013.
On
Actually, it was about the same time I met Jack a couple years ago because I followed you and then I saw Jack and I thought, I gotta go meet her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I found Jack, was through you.
That's awesome.
I know.
So you've been watching and following me on social media?
Yes.
That's fantastic. And here we are in your garden.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
All right.
This is the south side of my garden, and this is on its way to becoming an English cottage garden. So we started with this bougainvillea way back 6 years ago when we moved in, and I have Lady Banks roses here that are bright yellow and beautiful in the summer or in the springtime, and they look gorgeous with this bougainvillea. Eventually, this is going to be on an arch that's going to arch, and it will be the entrance to my cottage garden. And this is a mulberry tree that's only been in the ground for 1.5 years, and it's got mulberries all over it. That is a Shangri-La mulberry, and in the summertime, they taste like syrup.
Wow.
Right now, they're not as sweet as they are in the summertime, but they're still delicious.
Wow.
So that's for you.
Oh, thank you.
All right, this is a Shangri-La mulberry. Isn't that good?
Yes. That is so good.
Surprised you how
Yeah.
sweet that is, huh? When we got it, it was just a stick. And like Jack always says, the hotter the summer, the sweeter the fruit. This is my newest garden. It's my English cottage garden. I just finished it. I have a bunch of plants in here, and I also have pots. And I also like to incorporate herbs and vegetables in with my flowers. And I have a couple of fig trees over here. And as we move down here, passion vine, and it just got decimated recently with all the passion butterflies. So it's just starting to come back. You'll notice as you walk from that end of the garden to this end of the garden, it gets shadier and the temperature drops about 10 degrees. And that's what we call a microclimate. And we need a lot of those in Arizona so that we can grow a lot of the things that we grow. This is a Cape honeysuckle, and it normally people grow it as a bush, but I'm growing it up over this arbor to give us even more shade. So then we come into tropical garden. And this tropical garden is located in a spot in my yard where it stays cool in the summertime, but it stays warm in the wintertime. And I have this Okinawan sweet potato that I also got from Jack, and this has been growing for a couple of years. And in the summer, it fills all this in and it keeps the roots cool. And in the winter, until it freezes, it will fill in and it will keep all the roots of my tropicals warm. The wall also keeps them warm, and that way we don't have a freeze problem in the wintertime. And we've got more figs over here, and this tree was also a stick 1.5 years ago, and this is its 3rd crop. I've probably gotten about 1,500 figs off of this tree this year. I've got a loquat, there's a mango back there, and you'll see papayas on my papaya tree, and I'm not sure when those will be ripe. Do you know?
They'll ripen up when it warms, so they'll stay like that
All winter?
and then by June, July they'll color up.
This is a Jamaican cherry tree, also called strawberry tree, because of the way the flowers look. And this tree has grown 15 feet since July.
It looks just like a strawberry blossom.
It does, doesn't it? That bird. That is a purple leaf plum. It is an ornamental, but in the spring I'm going to start grafting fruit, stone fruit, onto that tree. It will become a fruit tree.
I have 2 of those, and I've never tried to do anything. Tell me
Now
about this.
this is a blood orange, and I have a dwarf citrus here. I have a calamondin in that pot there, and I have a Meyer lemon in that pot there. One year they'll produce really well, and then the next year not.
They take a break.
Yeah, they take
Okay.
a break. Those are the hibiscus in my tropical garden. Aren't those pretty? This is my Zen Garden. This is my favorite place to come and sit and have a cup of tea or something when my jasmine is in full bloom and my lavender's in full bloom. It smells divine. You can just mosey around and ask me whatever questions you want. What is this roughly? I'm letting this fig go wild until the spring when it's time to trim it back, because I'm going to start grafting onto this tree. And I want to add a whole bunch more figs. And so this is the tree that I'm going to be grafting onto because it's got a good solid base. This is Queen's Wreath or coral vine, and the purple flowers that are coming out are snail vine, and the bees love this.
Wow, I see a lot of bees.
Yeah, they love that. We'll wander through this little spot right here. This is my original fruit tree in my yard. This is a Eureka lemon, and it is full of thorns. So it makes great huge lemons, but the thorns are awful.
First you moved all this rock in, and now you're in the process of... So at what point did you make the decision that you'd made a mistake?
Well, I knew we made a mistake the day I was hauling all the rock back here, which was about 20 tons of rock. And I've since hauled about 16 tons back out. And I've got some more left to haul out. And eventually this will be a rose garden once I get all the rock out of here. The soil under this rock is mostly clay, so I'm going to amend it with some compost. This is the volunteer garden. Everything that's in this box right here grew on its own. It's either dropped by the birds or seeds from previous nasturtiums. I've also planted over here the ends of romaine lettuce and celery. When you cut those off to use them, if you buy them in an organic grocery store, you can just plant the ends. And this will be romaine lettuce that I can use, and this is celery growing in here. And everything else in here was volunteer, and I'm just kind of letting it go because this part of my garden gets a lot of shade in the wintertime because of this tree. It's good for the summertime garden, not so good for the wintertime garden. I got this idea to cover up my brassicas with the netting from Jill Green, who I met after watching her episode on Late Bloomer. I got to meet her out at her garden after that. I cover the brassicas with netting, number one, to keep the birds out of here because they like to peck at it and pull up the seeds, and also to try to keep cabbage moths off of the cabbage and the broccoli and the cauliflower.
From laying eggs.
From laying eggs, yeah. It tends to help.
So at what point did you decide to do container gardening?
When I ran out of room in my raised beds. And I got that from you too. It's amazing how much I've gotten from you. I watched you planting in the fabric pots, and I thought, I'm going to try that because I've run out of room, and I bought the fabric pots, and they're doing great. And I've also noticed the white ones, I think, are doing better than the black ones. Look at the bok choy and the white ones compared to the black ones. I have no idea why. Planted exactly the same time. Exactly the same starts. This one's full of tomatoes and peppers, and I've got some cheddar cauliflower, some snowball cauliflower, carrots, which the birds have gotten half of. So I put this up, trying to keep the birds out of the rest. It's doing a pretty good job of keeping the birds out. It's not doing such a great job of keeping the cabbage moths out. So this is my herb garden, and also my cutting garden, which I just cleaned out. It was very overgrown because I kind of ignored it throughout the summer. But the fun part about it was so overgrown that I had a family of quail with 25 babies living in here because they were so protected.
And I love the way you've incorporated a lot of art pieces and sculptures and things.
Yeah, I like to decorate everything. My husband makes these. He builds all my trellises, my arches, and my planter boxes. He's very talented. That's his work in the garden. This whole garden along the wall is my berry garden. And then I have the rest of my fruit trees in here and some garden beds on this side. The idea is for the grapes to grow over my elderberries because the elderberries were phenomenal in the spring, but in the summer, the hot, dry wind comes in here and just whips around and just fried my elderberries.
Is that this one?
That's what these are here. And they produced a ton of beautiful flowers and beautiful fruit. They were stunning. And I got this from Late Bloomer too. Let me show you. These are my loofah. They look pretty sad right now, but pretty soon I'll be able to harvest them and turn them into sponges.
Yeah, this one's almost ready. Well, you could take that one off now.
I saw that hanging from your pergola on your patio, and the flowers were beautiful. These are my compost bins, and I compost here, and I also have a worm bin that I compost in.
Nice. Does the city give these out, or?
The city of Mesa does. We have a rental house in Mesa. That's how I got these. They cut the bottoms off, drill holes in them, give them to people to compost. I have so much activity under my wood chips now. In the last 2 years since I've started using wood chips, you dig back and you can see bugs and worms, and the soil looks like chocolate cake. I have fungi that grows in there. I have the dog vomit fungus. I have all kinds of stuff happening under the wood chips because the life is now back in my soil. It's beautiful soil over there. And I think that's part of the reason everything grows so fast back here, is because now the soil is alive and everything's getting food and good stuff, good nutrition. And my worms help too. Do you want to see my worms?
We didn't see your worms. Where are they?
They're over here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be the top's not going to be near as pretty. Oh, we got some eggs being laid, but look at all those babies in there. You can see all those little dots. They're white and yellow dots are the worm eggs.
Oh, I've never noticed worm eggs. Now, you stocked that with red wigglers to start?
Yes,
or?
I started with 100 red wigglers. And right now it's a little cooler outside, and so they're not multiplying as quickly as they do when it's warmer outside.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's warm out, they multiply like crazy, and I have another bin that I'll split them, and I'll put them in two different bins when they multiply so fast. But in another, probably 2 weeks, this will all be gone, and it'll just be a nice soft layer. And I just put dry paper in here this time because it was pretty moist before, and so I put dry paper in to kind of suck up some of the moisture. I've had a fruit fly problem, and so I've been keeping it a little bit thicker on the top, trying to get rid of the fruit flies. Because if they don't smell the stuff in there, they won't come. This garden is 2 years old. I've done all this in less than 2 years. Been here for 6, but all this growth has been in less than 2 years.
Why'd you bring all that gravel in to start with?
Because we were stupid. Because we didn't have a clue what we were doing. We came from Colorado and had no idea that anything would grow out here. And then when I realized that things would grow out here, all that rock went back out to the front yard. It's really deep out there.
The food movement in Phoenix is amazing. And as Jack put it, I've only scratched the surface of meeting amazing gardeners who are building food forests in the desert. Be sure and watch my Phoenix Gardens playlist, because I have now made about 4 or 5 trips over there and met a lot of gardeners. If you'd like to see more videos from Phoenix, please leave me a comment below. I have a bed to stay in, and I have a great chauffeur. Thanks so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please watch these. Hi. Hi. How close are you gonna get? I dare you to go in front of that camera. I dare you. Oh. The hummingbird feeder is right there, and the hummingbird hasn't seen me in a few days, so